That's right, Willis. Of course, stay tuned for more music from June Gashui later on Power Breakfast. But as usual, having interesting conversations like we always do. And today, ahead of the Tourism Summit that's taking place on Wednesday this week, I wanted to focus a little bit about domestic tourism and just check in and see what the state is currently. So I am joined by a couple panelists here. So seated next to me is Rahim Manji, Sales and Marketing Director of Twiga Tours. Welcome to the show. Good morning. Next to Rahim is Esther Njoroge, CEO of Bountiful Safaris. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. And last but not least, Faith Munyui, who is a domestic traveler, I understand. So you'll tell us a little bit more about your experiences. Of course, it's an open conversation, so feel free to jump in whenever. But let's talk about the current trends amongst Kenyans right now. Who is traveling domestically? Where do we start? All right, Esther.
Currently, I would say the middle class people, they are really traveling domestically, and it is really motivating, and it's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So middle class Kenya.
Yeah.
All right. Is this upper middle class, lower middle class? There's different.
Both upper and
both.
Middle.
Yeah. I think when you look at tourism, there's such a wide spread in all areas. When you look at something as simple as just going to a restaurant, for example, that accounts for tourism as well.
Okay.
You know, and something that I've started to see a lot more is people taking a lot more interest in some of the smaller activities, going out to Karura Forest, going and taking walks over there, going out to the Gong Hills, experiencing those things. I would also like to encourage people to also go and see places, for example, like the National Museum, our National Archives. A lot of people don't actually take the time to pull out from their daily lives.
Routine.
Yes, yeah. and you know, actually go and experience some of these activities, and it only takes a couple of hours. And then when you look at some of the bigger and wider activities, of course, you know, going to the Masai Mara, I think, is one of the favorites right now with the wildebeest migration. You know, those are I think trends which are really starting to pick up here. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that it only takes a couple of hours, but it does take a bit of money. At least that's the perception that most Kenyans have is, listen, I'm just trying to survive and feed my family. I don't have that money left over at the end of the month to start taking them places that I can't afford. So maybe, Faith, you can speak a little bit about that, seeing as you are someone who travels regularly.
Thank you. Actually, concerning the issue of traveling and the money thing, they go hand in hand, but it's all about the concept, what you have in mind. If you want to travel, I think you have to save, because that is what actually makes someone plan for something. You can't just wake up and decide tomorrow I want to go to Masai Mara. You have to go for 5 days if you don't have the cash, but if you plan on it, it's an awesome thing to do, because that is actually one of the best things. You have to save just a little, even if it's 50 shillings every month. By the end of the year, you'll be able to go for a holiday somewhere. It doesn't have to be out of the country. We have a lot to explore.
So you save. Is that the practice that you, in your personal life, that you do?
Yes, actually, I do save.
How often would you say that you travel?
Frequently. Like, if need arises, I have to know when they have the low season, because that is actually, I take advantage of the low season, because that is when I can be able to, according to my budget, that is actually the time I can be able to travel, go have fun, and have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, and experience the best thing.
Would you say the average Kenyan is aware of things such as the low season and where can I go for this amount of money? Because it seems a lot of time that we see in the media that a lot of this travel is targeted towards foreign tourists, price ranges and everything. And so domestically we don't feel like sometimes that we are being the targets of these, you know, exclusive resorts and all this type of travel.
Correct. You know, it was interesting actually, and I'll go a little bit back into history. In 2014, if I'm not mistaken, WTO came out and actually did a study with the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, and that was one of the major issues was earnings. And you know, were the earnings enough as the greater population of Kenyans to allow them to travel. I think as we've progressed, 2 years down the road, we're starting to see a huge explosion in the middle class. They're having a few extra pennies, which they can now look at spending in travel, in entertainment, in leisure activities. And to go back to your other question of do they know, unfortunately no. Many of them don't know the different seasons. So when you look at what their capabilities are in terms of spending and then their knowledge, unfortunately they're unable to, because they seem to have a perception that traveling is very, very expensive. And they don't understand that you can actually go to places like the ones I just talked about earlier, Karura Forest. I think for a local Kenyan it's only 200 or 300 shillings just to go in.
Right.
And you can spend an absolutely fantastic afternoon or mid-morning walking through there and experiencing some of the magical highlights of Kenya. So I think they have to understand a little bit more. You can go online and do a little bit of research, and you'll be able to find the different seasons, the off periods, the peak times. And I think there's so much to do even for those who don't have the budgets.
Esther, I'm coming back to you. A lot of people are quick to blame like the Kenya Tourism Board, and the government is not doing enough in marketing and advertising and attracting domestic tourists. But you also run Bountiful Safaris. So what is it that you would say that you're doing to target either that middle class person that you were speaking about earlier, be it families, individuals, young people? I don't know where your target is, but what is it that you're doing as CEO of Bountiful Safaris?
Thank you, Joy. Personally, what I can do, I'm doing to reach to Kenyans. I've tried to get connected to the hotels, and I've negotiated better rates, whereby it's on every person. Even if you're a student, you're able to travel. Meaning, with that, I do online marketing to make sure that if you have a mobile phone, you can see my sponsored ads, whereby you can see whatever I'm selling. And I can say we have affordable packages whereby you can even travel to Naivasha. We have groups, because when you share with other people, it's cheaper. Yeah, when you share the cost, it's cheaper. But when you travel alone, it's quite expensive. So we've tried to come up with packages whereby other people can join our groups. We have like groups each and every weekend, and they are cheaper. For example, you can go to Naivasha, Healthgate, and pay like 3,500 per person.
Per person?
Yeah. Okay. And you're able to travel. But I can say the challenge that we face is that we are not able to reach more people. So what I can say is that our government should try and engage with the right stakeholders so that this word can go outside there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Faith, I just want to ask you, what is it, about your lifestyle that attracted you to traveling domestically? Because a lot of people, like we were speaking earlier, just have the routine. I go to work, I feed my family. Why is it that I need to go to all these different locations and see what is already home for us? So maybe you can talk about how you got into this, traveling as something that you do frequently.
Okay, thank you for that. It started, I had a friend, she's from Ghana, and she was like calling and asking me, what is about this wild beast? And I'm like, I have no idea, and I'm like, I'm the worst person trying not even to have an idea. Yeah, the migration, wild beast migration. And I'm like, I'll tell you, give me some time, I'll get back to you. And I'm like, she's asking me so many things about the local things that we have here, and I had no idea. Then there's a time she asked me about Karura Forest. And I was like, okay, yeah, it is just a forest full of trees and everything. And she's like, yeah, it's nothing fun. Yeah. So I was like, I think I need to do something to be able to tell even my friends out there we have so much more to offer than the normal things that they know about Mombasa and everything. So that is, they motivated me to traveling and trying to see different things that we have. I can be able to sit with kids and tell them, there's this and this and this. Yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah. So people from other countries coming to ask you, what do you have going on in Kenya,
and
you not being able to
it was
answer?
kind of shame.
Yeah.
You can't tell someone when it happens and what goes on to, you know.
Yeah.
It was kind of embarrassing, but it gave me a wake-up call.
Right.
Yeah.
And led you to a lifestyle that you now enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that you know, people often say about domestic tourism is that in the absence of foreign tourism, like when things are going on, where there are travel bans, safety issues, domestic tourism is supposed to be able to carry us during those times. Do you see that that is possible at this time, or maybe in the near future, where we can rely solely on domestic tourism in the event that international tourism isn't picking up?
Maybe the reliance might not be there. Because remember, and this comes from a tour operator's side, we all have our overheads that we need to cover. When we're looking at the domestic market, many of them are coming in at subsidized prices. So it's a lot harder to make your ends meet. You have to turn over a lot more clients before you see good returns on your investments. And so I think in terms of reliance, that might not be there. But what I do hope for is that we'll continue to encourage our local Kenyans to continue traveling. Yes, you do have those who will spend a little bit more. And as long as you have a good balance of those who can afford the slightly more luxurious packages, as well as the average traveler, I think there's good perspectives. Yeah.
I want to speak a little bit about what it is that constitutes domestic travel, especially for young people. They don't have that much disposable income. They're not able to do a lot of the things that perhaps you're able to do. But you know, they get in a car on the weekends and they drive to Naivasha. Do you consider that part of the game here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Self-drive packages, you know, and this is what I actually find is very important. If you have good infrastructure, and I was actually talking to someone over the weekend, and he said if we were able to tarmac the road all the way to the Masai Mara, you will have a lot more traffic actually going from Nairobi driving down, because many people have their own vehicles. They're able to drive themselves around, and if you actually look at places like Naivasha, Mount Kenya, these are areas that are frequented very, very often because of accessibility.
Right.
And if you were to do the same thing to the Masai Mara, a family of 4 trying to fly to the Masai Mara spends maybe 200,000 just on flights before they even start to accommodate themselves, look at all their personal expenses. And so if we had the accessibility to a lot more areas, I think this would really promote tourism within the destination.
Esther, do you think that either the Kenya Tourism Board or just you know, in general here in Kenya, that for example, you run a tourism Bountiful Safaris, right? Do you have packages that attract someone who's not in the middle class? You said the middle class is traveling. What if I'm an average Kenyan living below that line of the middle class and I don't have much money? Do you have packages that will attract that person? And do you think the Kenya Tourism Board is interested in attracting the average Kenyan?
Okay, thank you, Joy. What I can do, we have done at Bountiful Safaris for that person who is not able to travel. We have partnered with some of our clients whereby we save. We have accounts with them, so they save with us and they are able to access their accounts. And once we see there is a package that we have that they can manage to engage in, we communicate with them.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah,
so they're able to save for that trip through you?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we are doing, because early this year, we realized that if you're not a middle class, then you're not able to travel, and people are interested in that. So we started that, and I would say that it's doing well, and I could say that in March, we had a group of 22 people traveling. Wow. And they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really interesting. I didn't know much about that. What would you say, Faith, that travel has added to your life? You know, why should I get off of my couch in the weekend when I'm trying to unwind from work and feel like, you know, and now I have to get into a car, I have to, you know, add fuel into that car, I have to pay these expenses. What has it added to your life?
Okay, thank you, Joy. The best thing is you get to connect with the nature, what we have. Because if you don't travel, you never get to know. There are so many, even wild animals, that birds, they are different ones, other than the one you just see maybe when you're waking up, there's that tree outside there. So once you travel, you get to explore the nature, you get connected with it, and then you feel at peace. There is that after the hassles of working like for 6 months or a whole year or 2 years, once you go out there, you feel relaxed, and then you connect with the nature. And it's an experience that I don't know how to tell you.
It's therapeutic for you.
It's very therapeutic, yeah. You usually get to feel your content, at least. I have some, other than the side hustles, the noises every day, you go somewhere, you relax, you have a very good time. Yeah.
Get away from the stress of the city.
Exactly.
But travel also really opens you up as a person. The more you see, the more you experience,
you get more
it really changes you as a person. You know, you come into contact with different music, bands, you know, different cuisines from all over the world, and you don't even need to travel outside the country to actually experience it. We have Chinese, you have Japanese, Malaysian foods all here. We have some nice salsa bands. You know, these are things that don't really cost a lot. People get to experience different cultures, different lifestyles, just by going and experiencing different things within a small reach around their homes. You know, so
that's true.
It really changes you as a person, I think, and it's very, very important.
Have you been able to influence your friends to join in on your travels as well?
Yes, and actually right now we are trying to take it a step further. It's like just been 2 weeks we came from Dubai.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are trying to, because I think
shopping.
No, shopping has to be done, you know. So we are trying to, like, every after like 8 months, we are trying to see how much we have saved. Then we just decide on a destination. Then they work a package for us.
Yeah.
So it's actually good, and I can even emphasize on guys out there: travel.
Get in groups.
Get in groups. It's cheaper that way, because you'll never make it on your own. Maybe you're earning 10K, there's house rent, there's food and everything, but if you guys, you come up as a group, you will be able to travel and explore out there. There's so much, as I said, you get to see different things. You know, sometimes you usually think if it's Chinese food, you have to go to a Chinese restaurant, but once you go out there, you'll experience all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you keep emphasizing on the saving aspect of it, right? So it's not something you can just get up and do. It's something you need to plan for.
You have to plan for it. I usually tell guys come from Europe, wherever they're coming from. These guys, they don't just wake up and come. They save, they decide after 2 years, I'm going out for a holiday with my family. They have saved for it, they've worked for it.
Yeah.
The 50 shillings they save is enough to give them a good life out there.
Yeah.
To add on to what you just said, we've actually had some of our international clients who, for the last 20-25 years, have actually put aside $100 every single month until they could afford a package to come to Kenya. And you know, it is right. You know, we also look at the international clients and seem to feel that wow, you know, they have so much money. In actual fact, a lot of them are no different to us. They're still coming from the different categories in their professional lives, and it really depends on how much you want to save, how much you want to see, what your interests are, and once you can identify this and say, yes, you know, I do want to put aside a certain amount to go and experience some of the highlights, then you can actually work towards it.
There's also, I don't know if this is a misconception or not, maybe you can tell me because you've traveled quite a bit, where people feel like domestic tourists aren't treated at the same, you know, quality of service that international tourists receive. You know, that they might have a more negative experience, or maybe the staff at these resorts might look down on them because you're just a local, this person is the one coming in with the money. I don't know if you've had any of those experiences.
Thank you, Joy. Actually, I had the same concept before I started traveling. I would imagine, like, maybe I'm somewhere and there's someone from another country. They'll be told, excuse me, can you sit here? And maybe for me, I have to wait. But actually, when I went there, I experienced there's no one. Wherever you travel, you are all equal. There is nothing like this one comes from here. You're treated equally. That is what I've experienced myself. I've not gone anywhere. I found myself like I'm being like a second thing. No, we've been treated equally, and it was nice. Actually, the very first experience nilipata, the good one, was at Watamu. I went to Turtle Bay, and actually I was like the only person.
Wow.
Black, let me say that.
Okay.
so
you're the only person there.
No, I was the only black person there, so I was like expecting to be treated differently. But I got a wow factor because everyone was like making sure I'm comfortable. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Are you okay? Do you need anything? And it was the best experience ever. So there is nothing about how you're being treated. Once you're traveling, it's your money. You've paid for that thing. So you give and service for your quality, you know. Yeah.
That's definitely encouraging to
Okay.
hear.
I think I would want to add on what Faith have said. What I would like to say is that people are not informed. The word is not yet outside there. And that's why I would like to say our government and the ministry and Kenya Tourism Board should come in and make sure that the word is outside there, because even us, we face clients who they just see something online and they don't even believe it. They can't even believe that they can travel to Mombasa for 4 nights and pay 17,000 in a luxurious hotel or in a 4-star hotel. But so what I would like to say that it's that information is power. Let people have that information, so that we can encourage more people to travel and remove this mentality that tourism is for the rich and tourism is for traveling is for the white guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important that, you know, we start these conversations now. Another thing that people often say regarding domestic tourism is that for a long time people have said there's not a lot of options. Like if I can't afford the Masai Mara or to go to South Coast or whatever, there are not a lot of options. But with devolution, you know, do you feel like counties now have found out that, look, we need to generate revenue somehow? Has devolution, you know, aided in us having options? Have counties gone the extra mile to develop areas within their county that people can, you know, travel to locally?
Well, I think yes and no.
Okay.
I think when you're investing in different areas, you need to invest wisely. You need to ensure that there are things around where which will attract people to come and you know, get people excited to come and see. Some areas unfortunately do not have it. So even if you put a very nice hotel out there, I don't think without the correct infrastructure, without the correct facilities being there, it might not have the same effect as places like Mombasa, which has a beautiful beach, some of the nice wildlife areas, which of course have the animal and the game. So some areas which don't have this these highlights have to think a little bit more creatively to then come and say, well, you know what, we'll come out with different investment opportunities in various, you know, whatever it may be, and this is how we will attract our clients into these areas. So I think it's not something you just wake up and say, well, you know what, we have the Weeping Stone here, for example, so everyone should run there. It's not going to happen. You know, they have to think about it wisely and then come out with a plan and say, well, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we'll attract them. Theme parks, you know, maybe even put up a circus or something. I don't know.
Why not? In terms of getting the word out there, which I think a lot of this is about, getting the word out there and, you know, demystifying a lot of these misconceptions. Do you feel like social media has aided in getting the word out there about domestic travel? Because a lot of times we'll see these hashtags, hashtag Magical Kenya, hashtag Tembea Kenya, but is that actually being effective towards someone seeing that and saying, hey, maybe I should go visit one of these places or see more of my country?
Actually, for me, I'll say yes. Because most of the people, like, if now I keep on hashtagging Magical Kenya, Tembea Kenya, everyone, my friends start following the same thing, and you're getting to, even before you travel, they are trying to create the awareness. It's a bit slow, but it will get there definitely. We are starting, we are still growing, but there's still that car allowance for guys to grow it, get to know something. But it's still working. It's working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working a little bit slowly maybe, because there are issues that Kenyans on Twitter and, you know, other social media take up, and they just go like wildfire. You know, let's raise money for this type of thing, and you see a very rapid response.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think with travel, it's like we've been discussing earlier on. It's all about knowledge and interest. For those who travel like yourself, will take the opportunity to follow these handles and Facebook pages. And for those who don't, well, they'll be looking at other things that interest them. I think once that bug bites you, that you know you want to travel, and it's in there, you will go and travel.
Yeah, it's true.
Once the bug bites you, like, yes, it happened to me. Maybe we can just speak a little bit about what more you would like to tell Kenyans, just to demystify the whole, you know, aspect of domestic tourism being for the rich and being a luxury and being something way out of our reach.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll just start and go around.
So again, similar to what Bountiful Safaris do, we also have various schemes for all sorts of clientele. We've come out with what we call Lipa Pole Pole. You can start planning your trips for December into next year and pay over a period of time. You know, something small as you go along. There are different companies who will come out with different packages, different promotions that will cater to all sorts of categories of clients. And so I think it is important for people to come out and actually experience travel. There are some beautiful places to actually go and see, whether it's on your own, whether you want to take a 4 or 5 hour drive, and for those who can afford it, to fly down. You know, there's a lot to do. Yeah.
Thank you. What I would like to say is that, as I've said earlier, we have come up with that partnership of people saving with us and traveling with us, of which I believe it's working, and I believe it will go a long way, and many people will be able to travel.
Yeah.
Also, what I would like to say is that we also have a plan whereby someone can plan for December holidays right now or beginning of the year, and they are able to travel, because as we know, when you pay early, you save more, because at that time there are no much. Okay, many people have not yet booked for hotels and airlines, meaning the rates are cheaper. But if you wait, and this is the big problem with us Kenyans, we wait until the last minute.
Yeah.
We are last minute bookers.
And then you see your friends are planning to go, and that's when you're looking for last minute tickets.
So that's when you're asking, oh, you're traveling? Yeah, I'm traveling. When it's too late. Whereas, like, you see your friend paying a package for 5 days during Christmas at 50,000. That is a person who planned early. So when you're coming in November or 12th December, you end up paying double the price.
Yeah.
And then they start complaining. So I would like to urge my fellow Kenyans to try and plan their holidays well in advance, so that they are able to enjoy the early bird offers and save more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I get to you, Faith, I just wanted to ask, you know, we do plan a lot of our travel around special occasions. Valentine's Day, honeymoons. I mean, I don't know if either of you can speak about different packages available for those special occasions throughout the year.
Actually, there's some of the best honeymoon locations around in Kenya, and we've started to see a lot of interest in destination weddings, going all the way down to, for example, Diani, Watamu, you know, some of these beautiful beach resorts, and using those facilities for destination weddings, going and enjoying their honeymoons there, and you can do it, you know, for reasonably cheap. I'm not going to say those packages are for everyone. It's not, because you've got to move quite a number of people. You know, it's the same even in
weddings.
correct. It's the same for the local Kenyans as well as for in our traditions. You know, you want to have those people who are close to you, and you've got to move quite a number of people to go and experience a wedding out in the middle of nowhere. But it is you know, a very, very magical experience to get involved in those. Of course, Easter, Christmas, our public holidays, those are peak times for travel for Kenyans. And majority of the time it's off season for the international travelers, so you still get to enjoy you know, really good rates.
Yeah.
Okay, to add on that, as Bountiful Safaris, we specialize more on domestic travel. That is what we do, because that is what we started on, because we thought this feeling that we want each and every Kenyan to travel. So we plan our programs yearly, so that from January we have our Valentine packages planned, Easter holidays planned, and for honeymoon packages we have packages that we have set on our website, whereby they have prices for both low seasons and peak seasons. So and they are negotiated packages. So I believe anyone, it's only that people don't have this information.
Yeah. But
we have great destinations outside there. And when it comes to honeymoon, I always tell Kenyans, don't go to Mombasa, whereby you go find your neighbor. There are other hidden gems. Whereby you know, you go to a hotel in Mombasa and you find your next door neighbor. So really, there are other hidden gems in our country whereby you can go and enjoy your honeymoon, and we advise people accordingly, and we like having this personalized touch with our clients, so that we can know your budget, and we believe there is a place for anyone. It doesn't matter. You just come to us and tell us what you have in your pocket, and we are able to advise you accordingly.
So the options are there. Faith, have you been to any of these hidden gems? I mean, when we think vacation, we think Naivasha, Mombasa. What places have you traveled that have kind of shocked you?
Thank you, Joy. Actually, it was Nyahururu.
Okay.
I only pictured Nyahururu to have the Thompson Falls, but I discovered there's a lake in Nyahururu.
Wow.
And it's never been discovered.
Okay.
Guys don't go there, and it's a very good place. You know, they charge for you to go to see the Thompson Falls, and that place is just down there, and no one. You only go find there the hippos and boozies eating, you know. And it's facing the Abadeas. And it was a magnificent view. So if there are so many places. You find there are other houses which are over there built in 1940s. Still, no one has ever been there. You don't even hear about it.
So it's all about discovering.
There are so many places out there. So many. Even Karura Forest. Guys used to think it's only trees which are being planted there.
And there are activities.
There are so many. You'll go there, you walk like for a whole day, and you won't even get to half of the Karura Forest. Absolutely. So
I think it's very important to know these options that are out there, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Faith Munyui, Esther Njoroge, CEO of Bountiful Safaris, and Rahim Maji of Trigger Tours. Thank you for this discussion. Of course, ahead of the tourism summit happening later this week, this conversation I'm sure will continue. Use the hashtag #PowerBreakfast if you have any more comments on this issue. But back to June Gashui, more beautiful music coming your way here on Citizen TV.